But I have always had this feeling, and if you could, subconsciously, when Randy was there, he rewarded you. But was there a feeling sometimes, where's Randy?
Sure.
I want to make sure Randy's happy.
Sure. Yet you always felt like you had to do something to get them the ball. And if they hadn't touched the ball in practice, I'd make sure, oh, God, hey, I got to get so-and-so ball because I want him to keep running hard. And I want him to be ready for when the ball does come. And, you see it a lot in NFL games. I've been practicing a lot of these games. I want to see the best players touch the ball early so they can break a sweat. They can get into the flow of the game. And good coaches do that. When you script plays at the beginning of the game, you're saying, okay, you're the Niners coach. I'm going to make sure McCaffrey touches it either first or second in the game. I want to make sure Deebo Samuel touches it first or second in the game. I'm going to throw it to him quick. Somehow I know the ball is going to be in his hands so he can do something with it. I want to get him into the flow. So we would always try to script so that everybody would feel like they were in the flow of the game. The last thing you want is your number one receiver to go 2.5 quarters into a game and not see a ball to get one target, because he's going to get discouraged. He's got to go out there. He's got to break the huddle. He's got to run out 25 yards to his alignment. He's got to run down the field as fast as he can, try to get open. He's got to run back to the huddle. It's a lot of effort that he's putting into not getting the ball. And I think when you can reward that guy early in the game and figure, okay, where is he at? How do I get him the ball? And there's certain guys that are really easy to get the ball to. Certainly the guys that line up closer to the ball, the tight ends and the slot receivers, there's way more route options for them. It's way easier to get them the ball because they can go to basically every part of the field. Whereas that perimeter receiver, he's got the sideline to deal with. He really can't break out. If he breaks out, he's got 5 or 6 yards to deal with. A receiver at the tight end position or in the slot, when he breaks out, he's got 18 yards to deal with. So you have much more space to get him actually the ball. So, it wasn't hard to get Welker the ball. It wasn't hard to get Edelman the ball. It wasn't hard to get Gronkowski the ball. It was hard to get a perimeter receiver the ball. If they decide that they want to take a perimeter receiver out of the game,
roll out coverage.
You just roll the coverage to them. You play cover 2. You jam them at the line of scrimmage with someone over the top, and it's very, very difficult to get that guy the ball. But that also gives up a lot of other things. And you've got to be able to take advantage of those things. And that number one receiver has to understand, okay, they're making a concerted effort to take me away. Therefore, my other teammates have to produce when they're playing these coverages.
Sean McVay years ago did something that it was kind of a maverick move, kind of a baller move. He said, I'm not going to play my veteran stars one snap in preseason. And people are like, whoa.
Yeah.
You're not going to be ready. They went 8-0 to start the season. And now people look at it and go, yeah, kind of, I don't want anybody hurt. Now, there is a line here because you're going to want a couple series of snaps. Like, I get it. You don't want to go cold.
Yeah.
But it is interesting that I believe, and you have touched on this, that the NFL is the shield and corporate. And a lot of these coaches, there's a dogma and a rigidity, and they just don't want to change stuff, and it's hard to flip the telescope. And I think coaches struggle allowing quarterbacks like you and Breeze, it's your offense. Go to the line and call what you see.
Yeah.
I think quarterbacks can be overcoached at the line of scrimmage, not at practice.
Sure.
You have touched on the fact that you don't think quarterbacks are developing that sort of pre-sent snap. Is some of it the rigidity of coaching?
Yeah.
Okay, so it is.
Yeah, and the ability to develop that player, to give him the tools so that when he gets to the line of scrimmage and he sees blitz, okay, if they're blitzing me, these are the 2 protections I can use when they blitz. These are the 2 or 3 routes that I can signal to my receivers that can beat the blitz. Or vice versa. We're anticipating blitz, so we call a play that's going to protect. And nope, they're actually playing a very safe zone. I want to make sure I can get all my players out into the route, and I can change the call, the protection, and the route so that everybody can get into the defense. So what are you trying to do? You're trying to give the quarterback to really be a field general. Quarterback, you got the last swipe at the pencil. The defense can call their play. They're going to line up. Offense calls a play in the huddle. They walk to the line of scrimmage. Defense calls a play. They adjust to the formation offense is lined up in. They have their call set. It was always my job to say, well, I know what my play is. Now I look at the defense. Okay, I think I know what they're in. Does what I have call, is it going to work? And that was my judgment. And they would have to live and die with my judgment, the entire team. Now, I developed the trust within the team, my teammates in the organization to say, Tom, we want you to have that. We trust you to have that final swipe at that pencil. But we're not going to snap the ball into, let's say there's a safety blitzing off the right side, and I got to run right at the right side, and I know that nobody can block him. I'm not going to snap the ball and run it into the strong safety blitzing and tackle our running back 4 yards in the backfield. I'd say, okay, if the strong safety's coming on the right and we got to play to the right, what do you want me to do? You want me to run to the left? Do you want me to check to a pass? Those are the options. That's how I would think about the game. There was always a reason why I did something. If he was blitzing off the left and I wanted to run the right, great, let's snap the ball as fast as I can.
Everything's intentional.
Everything was intentional. Yeah, there wasn't a time. I would hope that I would have never snapped the ball into a bad defense. Now, did I? Of course I did. Because sometimes the defenses wanted to disguise a lot of things. They didn't want to show me, okay, Brady likes to get a great pre-snap read. Let's really mess with him. Let's, kind of toggle the safeties back and forth. And we're going to make it challenging for him to really decipher. Buffalo, when I played Buffalo, they wouldn't move until after the ball was snapped. So if the safety was coming down on the left or on the right, they were going to do it after the snap all the time. And they would just play in this little shell defense, ball be snapped, and here they go, they'd rotate. Because every defense has strengths and weaknesses to it. My job as a quarterback was always to delineate where the strengths and weaknesses were. And was the play that I had called, was it able to take advantage of the weaknesses of the defense? And if it couldn't, then I was supposed to get to a play that would. And I think that's part of the development that I had as a player was they gave me the tools to be able to do that. And they gave me the trust over a period of time that I was ultimately going to make the right decision for the team.
Intentional is sometimes confused for intensity. Knowing and reading the temperature in the room is important. And there's a story about John Wooden, the late legendary coach, and he was very strict, the pyramid of success.
Yeah.
And he felt his team before a championship game was tight.
Yeah.
And so he made the decision. He said, all we're doing is dunking at practice today. And everybody was having fun, and he sensed the temperature in the room. My team is tight.
Yeah.
We got to have a fun practice. You had what I would view as a highly efficient, don't mess around head coach.
Yeah.
Were there times
That's a polite way to say that.
Yes. I'm trying to be very diplomatic.
Good job.
I would think you would have to provide the question I'm going to ask. Were there times, because of Bill's manner, that you felt on a Saturday night when you go into that meeting, we're way too tight, I got to lighten this room up a little?
I think the answer would be no. And I think that's where Bill was actually so great. And no one saw him in those moments like we did. And Saturday night, we were so prepared and so focused. We were the opposite of tight.
Really?
We were always relaxed because we had the answers to the test. I knew that I went through the call sheet. And let's say we had 150 calls on the call sheet. There was a meeting at a squad meeting at 8 o'clock. I would meet with the quarterback starting at 6:30 and the offense coordinator. We'd go through every single play on the call sheet, and we'd do exactly what we did. Okay, this is a play. This is the run. What's the one thing that could mess this run up? Oh, a safety blitz off the right side. Okay, great. What do you want to do if that happens? So I'd walk to the line of scrimmage. That call was made. I'd break the huddle. I'd look to the line of scrimmage. I'd say, okay, the only problem I have on this play is if the safety's blitzing off the right side. And then I would just look for it. Oh, and he only did it, let's say, 5% of the time. So most coaches would just say, just run the play, whatever. If they get lucky and call at the same time, one for them. And that's not how I played, because that one play could mean everything.
Right.
So I would say, no. If it's a 5% chance it could happen, what should I do if it happens? So we're all on the same page. So I would tell the line, okay, if this guy's blitz, this is what I'm doing. I'm going to check to this play called Wolf or called Beetle or called Python, whatever we wanted to call it. This is what I'm going to do. Or I'm going to check to a screen, Liz, Rip. I'm going to change the protection and go to Greta or Grape. So there was all these different code words what we had that we can get to them so quickly because it's hard to do when there's 70,000 fans.
Right.
It's hard to do to communicate to everybody in 10 seconds to go from one play to another play. But that's what the continuity allowed us to do over a long period of time. That's what the same coordinator, the similar core group of players could do, the same offensive line coach. Oh, yeah, we did that 2 years ago. Yeah, I like that solution. That worked great. That allowed us to win the game. Great, we gained confidence in it. So that continuity that we had with all of us allowed us to succeed in those little small percentage chances that they did something or made a call that could beat what we were doing. And I think so much that's what the beautiful part about the sport is. That's the chess game in football. It's not checkers. It's not soccer where everything's reaction. It's not hockey. It's not basketball.
Right.
They're all set pieces. There's a play. And when I looked at the real field generals when I played growing up that was John Elway, Dan Marino. Then you got to the Peyton Mannings and Drew Brees and Phillip Rivers. That's all we tried to do. We tried to say, what's the defense doing and how can we beat the defense on every single play? And then we'd come out of the game. That's how we would judge ourselves. Did I make the right call there? Not always did I make the right throw, did I snap the ball into a defense that play would actually work?
This will be really dorky, but I always thought you were the best cold weather thrower because of your torque I'd ever seen.
Yeah.
Didn't mean you had the best arm. You're the best cold weather thrower. And you made a throw. This is so dorky. Chicago Bears, Soldier Field.
Yeah.
Down the left sideline.
The Deion Branch.
And I was like, does everybody understand what it's like to throw in Chicago? The
Yeah.
weather was